guess what? The Mega Millions jackpot rolled over again. That's right, Friday's jackpot is now 325 million and growing, and Mito Lotto is giving you a free Mega Millions ticket just for downloading their totally awesome app. Shorty here for a new, convenient, and safe way to play the lottery in California. Mito Lotto. If you haven't heard about it yet, Mito Lotto is an app right on your smartphone. You can use it to play the lottery
17, 20, 27, 30, 43, Mega number 6.
Is giving B101.1 listeners a free Mega Millions ticket just for downloading this convenient app. It's so easy. Play the lottery at your convenience, not the convenience store. So all you need to do to get this free ticket is dial pound 250, and when prompted, say the keyword lottery. You're going to have the option to receive a one-time auto-dial text message with more information from iHeart-Radio. So dial pound 250 and say lottery. That's pound 250, keyword lottery.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a speed bump. Did you hear what I said? I'm a speed bump. And if you have cut-rate car insurance, the cost to reattach your muffler could really be a bump in the road. So switch to Allstate, save money, and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Based on coverage and limits selected, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Burn Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Groups and audiences are raving about Scream.
Thank you, that's very nice.
It's a game changer for the horror genre. With mind-blowing twists.
I'll be right back.
Well, he's dead.
Scream rated R, now playing.
Imagine a credit union where school employees are treated like the heroes you are. At School's First Federal Credit Union, everything we do starts with helping our members live better today and plan for tomorrow. Like a low-rate auto loan with payment-free summers, an affordable home loan with a low down payment, a credit card that helps you save with cash back on every purchase, stress-free retirement planning, and expert advisors you can talk to anytime. Because you're not just our members, you're our heroes. Visit schoolsfirstfcu.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Start the new year with new heroes, new adventures, and new journeys. With Star Wars: The Book of Boba Fett's new episodes.
And tend to rule with respect.
Marvel Studios' Eternals.
Okay, get ready for it.
National Geographic's The World According to Jeff Goldblum new episodes.
What? Amazing.
And the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild original movie.
It's time to get wild.
All these and more streaming this month. Sign up now at DisneyPlus.com.
Whether you're refinancing credit card debt or paying for an upcoming expense, Karma Confidence Technology automatically identifies the loans that you're most likely to be approved for from a list of trusted lenders. And members who compare loan offers on Credit Karma save an average of 32% on interest rates. You know what the best part is that it's completely free. And comparing loan offers actually won't even affect your credit score. Credit Karma even tracks your progress and lets you know if you can refinance and save money. Are you ready to apply? Head to creditkarma.com/loan offers to see personalized offers with your approval odds right now. Go to creditkarma.com/loan offers to find the loan for you.
Avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. Result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our weekend special. Save up to $1,000 on Sleep Number 360 Smart Beds, plus free premium delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
Talking to fans about my favorite moments on the field, but none of them are as important as my biggest moments off the field, like being there for my family when my kids were born. I wouldn't trade those moments for anything, and neither should you. If you're a new father, California Paid Family Leave can provide up to 8 weeks of partial wage replacement benefits so you can bond with your new baby. California Paid Family Leave. Moments matter. To learn more, visit CaliforniaPaidFamilyLeave.com.
From COVID-19 and its variants, like masking up in public indoor settings, getting tested before and after traveling and gathering, and staying home if you feel sick. Let's keep our immunity strong. Visit myturn.ca.gov or call 833-422-4255 to find a vaccine or booster near you. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
For hand-picked fruits and vegetables, harvested at the peak of flavor, from farm to you. Visit our produce department today and see how we're perfecting the art of fresh.
And Matty Ice. I
convinced NFL teams to turn to cold water washing with Tide.
The NFL, your uniforms get dirty.
Tide can handle it, even in cold. Plus, if fans join in, they can save up to $150 on their energy bill.
Looks like you just made the team, rookie.
Turn to cold with Tide.
And that's the bottom line.
It's got to be Tide. Energy savings based on average switching from hot to cold and non-HL.
I eat a bowl of Grainberry bran flakes every morning because my bold goal is to cut down on sugar. I eat a bowl of Grainberry cinnamon frosted shredded wheat every morning because my bold goal is to pack as much flavor into my breakfast as possible.
I eat a bowl of Grainberry Honey Nut Toasted Oats every morning because my bold goal is to start each day with tons of energy.
Grainberry cereal with amazing onyx sorghum is a delicious way to keep your family's health goals on track with more antioxidants than any fruit, vegetable, or cereal.
I'm Peter Harris for Grainberry Cereals. Grainberry with amazing onyx sorghum starts with lower sugar than other cereals. Then we use only whole grains to help slow sugar absorption, making it great for managing diabetes and prediabetes. Whatever your health goals are, find it in a bowl of Grainberry cereal. Pick up a box today.
Grainberry, Grainberry.
Everybody could get a check. Just bring in your last pay stub to Express Tax and you could get an advance today.
No W-2 needed. Just bring in your latest pay stub.
Good or bad credit, it doesn't even matter. Apply for your advance now and you can also qualify up to 75% of your refund when you file with Express Tax Service. Call them now. 916-564-4338. That's 916-564-4338.
With our award-winning SUVs that come in first against the competition. For starters, every Hyundai SUV comes with America's best warranty and complimentary maintenance. Plus, the Hyundai Tucson, Santa Fe, and Kona SUVs are available with premium features like wireless device charging, Hyundai Digital Key, and blind spot collision avoidance assist. The competition? They must be back on 3rd Street, or 4th, maybe 14th. It's your journey. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 60 months or unlimited total savings on a 2022 Kona, Tucson, or Santa Fe. Plus, get complimentary maintenance. See your Sacramento area Hyundai dealer for well-qualified buyers only. Offers end 1/31/22. Call 916-398-3537.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C Sports. This is Charlton there. Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. Of course, the people who love sports. All players that award. I want to say the Bitty team. Bienvenido, Brando Deportes, bonjour. Welcome to the show. I want to say today's beautiful show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers on a beautiful January the 14th, 2022. What a great day in America. There's a lot of football coming up over the weekend. Even on MLK coming up on Monday, there's a lot of good things happening in the sports universe. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe. You can follow Big C Sports on 20 applications. That's a lot. I'm going to see if I can count them all. Google, Alexa, Spotify speaker, Apple Podcasts, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, and then Pod Chaser. Got to catch my breath. Give me some praise for learning how to count to 10 and catching my breath. I'm not even joking, dude. I got to get better shape. Man, nobody's exercising nowadays. The gyms are like, hey, you can't come in. You can't come in. All Fred Leavenworth. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on more applications. Going with Gio Saban out of London, England, Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher, Radio Line, Repod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, and also Podcast Wise. Give that some praise. I said give Podcast Wise some praise. You can follow Big C Sports all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. Big C Sports, there's so much that I love doing about this show, especially this time of year. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming on 4 TV applications all over the universe. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon and Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs out there. Really do appreciate that. I love paying homage to my family. Legacy on my on my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her a mamo. Just a wonderful, beautiful person. Make sure everybody had food in the belly and kept their family together. And then my beautiful great-grandfather called him Pop. former Negro League baseball player, also known for making the best moonshine in the universe. And also said, boys, get out of that barn. Lightning might strike you. Leave those potatoes alone. Grandpa, what are all the potatoes floating around? Man, some things bring back great memories. Also, I want to say my beautiful grandmother called her Madia. Just a seer, could look at people and tell you everything about them. Just a lot of wonderful things. Really appreciate her in my life. And then my grandfather Hezekiah, just another wonderful, beautiful person. And then my mother, my beautiful mother, helped start a Head Start program in Northern California and a food program in Northern California, and helped win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give Mama some praise. I said, give Mama some praise. A Head Start program, a food program to feed people, and also help win the Little League Championship of the universe. How many people can say that about their mothers? Really do appreciate that. Always stand, rise and shine, no matter what you do in life. Always rise and shine. On my father's side, the patriarch of the family is Albert Curry, a pastor, had 2 gas stations in Oakland, California, also had 2 churches, built the 3rd church in Central California. And then the matriarch of my father's side is Alberta Curry, my grandmother. Touched me on my head when I was 8 years old in Oakland, California. Said, there's something about your voice. I love the way your voice sounds. Really do appreciate that, edifying a young person that now has Big C Sports. Isn't that something? Be careful when you say to kids, they might believe you. Also, want to say my father, retired Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic, make sure that planes can fly high so we could all stay safe at night. Really do appreciate that. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. And then my beautiful brother Todd, with his bombastic voice, kind of sound like lightning when Todd would speak. Just really appreciate so many great things. Always reading. And my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the universe. College graduate, 3.5 years, double major, very, very intelligent. Really love my daughter Daisy. Helped me set up camps for coaches that would come to the West Coast, signing them up for a Big C Sports. Really do appreciate that. My beautiful son, Malcolm, very intelligent, the most handsome son in the universe. Has NBA all over it. Should be NBA stats. Knows the NBA inside and out. Really do appreciate that. And then Big C, with all of his wealth of knowledge in the past, really do appreciate everybody. Give everybody some praise. Yeah, give it praise. Really do appreciate. Welcome to the show. Everybody's talking about welcome to the show. There's a lot of football that's going to say, welcome to the show. Let's get ready to rumble. Big C Sports Podcast, ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast. No scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear. I always honor God with whatever I do, and I know some people don't like that, but that's okay too. Oh man, I produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast the shows, I do the sound effects based on the platform that's provided by the agency. We can all use more platforms in our life. And then I also say that I do the stats providing, the commercials done by the agency out of New York City. I do the storytelling, and then I also do the play-by-play touchdown San Francisco. That's the great Greg Papa this weekend. Will the 49ers go down and beat the Cowboys? They got to beat them because I bet $5. Come on, guys. You know, Shanahan is 40. When he runs the ball 40 times, he's 18-0. That's a clue. 18-0. That's a clue against a team that can't stop the run. Run the ball. You'll win the game. All's fair, level up. And then I upload the show that goes out to now 20 podcast applications all over the universe. Started with one podcast. Actually, there was only one app doing Salem Media back at Salem Media in 2015 when Big C Sports started. And now it goes out to 20 podcast applications. There's another one that's talking about coming on board to carry a podcast of Big C Sports. And I really do appreciate that too. And everybody can talk about their podcast. But if you go to Google Podcasts, you'll see Big C Sports got 5 out of 5 stars. I say that's 5 out of 5 stars. Give that some praise. Not everybody gets ranked 5 out of 5. I really do appreciate that because I love doing Big C Sports Podcast. 5 out of 5 stars for an ESPY nominated by Disney Corporation. Big C Sports Podcast will win the ESPY for 2021, but it'll be given out in 2022. Give that some praise. Give that some praise. You just got to keep believing in yourself. Since starting Big C Sports, September 12, 2015, never missed a show. And one of the only sports shows, in my opinion, in fact, I know it's true, in the universe, that honors God more than saying God bless you. I think one of my favorite verses in the Bible, among many, is Genesis 13:15. It says, "For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever." And then the book of James, chapter 4, verse 2, said, "You have not because you ask not." So if you want something, just ask. You just got to ask and give the Bible some praise. I said, give him some praise, praise, praise. Oh, it doesn't work. A funny thing in my prayers, I want to thank my pastor. I know many pastor friends, but one called me. The church called me today and wanted to set up an appointment to meet with the pastor. And I told the pastor I'm looking for $100 million. And so I believe God's going to have him give it to me. I know you listen, Pastor. He walked up to me on Sunday in church and he said, Isaiah 54:17, "No weapon formed against you will prosper." And he said, Ephesians 3:20, that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or think. And so I said, I'm just asking for $100 million. So they called me today. Hey, you have not because you have not. Oh, friend, level war. Life is funny. I really do appreciate things that are going on in life. I want to also say, for the Veterans Crisis Hotline, really do appreciate the work that they do with our first responders. They have people who are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know anyone going through issues, pick up the phone, call them, do what you got to do, but put them in touch. 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and they will do whatever they can to make sure that our veterans can get some help, and they really deserve some praise. I said, give them praise, 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 the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They will stand on their head to make sure you get some help, and everybody needs somebody to lean on. You can even call them if you're that person that needs some help. It's all fair in love and war. I just really appreciate having access to things that can help people and put things out there in the universe that can really be of help to individuals. I have many veterans in my family that served this country and served it admirably. Really do appreciate that. Also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, "Let there be light." Open your cell phones or electronic devices and say, "Play Big C Sports Podcast." You will see your house pop up all over the world. Give that some praise. I said, give that some praise all over the world, and you'll hear the show. It's amazing. Started with one app, now have 20 on podcast and 4 TV platforms. I also very happy to be affiliated with Real Estate ValleyHomesWeekly.com, a real estate show in California that showcases real estate properties for people looking for properties in your neck of the woods. Also, in your neck of the woods, you want to know what's going on in real estate, go to the NationalRealEstatePost.com. That's the NationalRealEstatePost.com. You can find out what's going on in your neck of the woods, and they talk as fast as I do. That makes sense, yeah. If you want to know what's going on with mortgages in your neck of the woods, go to MortgageDailyNews.com. That's MortgageDailyNews.com. You can also find out what's going on there. Rates are supposed to go up sometime before the spring. We'll see what happens, if that makes sense to you. Also, really proud to be affiliated with Unsecured Funding. With over 250 lenders throughout the country, you can get between $10,000 and $400,000 in funds that can be used for any purpose. They can close in less than 7 days. Once approved for business startups, real estate investments, repairs and renovations, working capital, down payment assistance, investing in the stock market, debt consolidation, even paying off student loans. I believe the Biden administration will have a sea change and write off all the student loans retroactive to 2000. That would make so much sense to get college students out of debt. Minimum requirements are there. Just want an arm and a leg. Just a joke about that. But minimum requirements, 650 credit score, $27,000 annual income, no new lines of credit in the last 6 months, and consistent on your bills, as well as 2 years of consistent income. And there's so much going on in the world of real estate that's part of real estate and sports. A lot of people are understanding what that means. But I just want to say, for you investors out there also, you want more information, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8264. 800-273-8264. And give that some praise. I said, give that some praise, praise, praise. Gotta give it all praise. All spread love and war. Really do appreciate that. Everybody has their own options in life. You just got to go out and do it. 800-772-8624. I also want to say for people who are betting, I've actually stepped out on a limb, and I decided to bet a friend of mine $5. He said, $5? I said, $5 that I have my money on the 49ers, knocking off the Dallas Cowboys. I don't even think it's an upset. If you look at Shanahan, and if he remembers this about himself, when his teams have run the ball over 40 times, they are 18-0. That's a clue. You can get that some praise. Get that some praise. When you run the ball over 40 times, they're 18-0. Dallas is not a good team at stopping the run. They're good at the long ball, so don't try to test them deep. But if you know how Cowboys are, when you punch them in the mouth, they all sound a lot taller on TV and radio. Punch them in the mouth, Niners. I got to get that $5 bet. Give us a praise. All's fair and level war. But when you're out there betting, you never want to bet more than you can afford to lose. And so just keep that in mind. Love giving out that PSA. Also, this segment is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. I love the name Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% honest game. Sports fans, you watch the big game. You want to eat the Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with all this exotic meat. Also coming soon to a coffee establishment near you, the Big C Cup of Coffee. Give that some praise. I said the Big C Cup of Coffee. Give it some praise. It comes with what's all this exotic beans? There's a lot of exotic beans. Don't ask questions, just drink the coffee. We only have one size, extra large. Other people that stand in line at a restaurant, they go, "What? How can I help you?" Well, let me see. I want to get. Let me see. I want to buy. Do you have? And so they made it easier for people like that. They just started coming up with, you want a number 1, you want a number 2, you want a number 3, number 4, and still people go, let me see, let me see what do you guys still have, like, enough of that? Enough! With Big C Coffee, you get one size, extra large. You get extra great. Extra large, if it's too much, you're pouring another cup, saving for another day. Oh, man. It's amazing what sponsors are willing to do when you just ask. Just ask the question. All's fair and level war. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When I come back, I'm going to talk about some great things that are happening for the weekend in NFL football, and I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my predictions. Everybody has them. In the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C Pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 20 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV applications all over the sports universe. Really do appreciate that. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. That's really appreciative. Also, a little bit of college news. The UCLA Bruins, they just signed their head football coach, Chip Kelly. So he's going to be back at the helm for the UCLA Bruins. All fair and level war. But there's a lot of good things in football. So I'm going to say one more time, are you ready for the football? Of course you are. Got Big C's thoughts for some predictions. And this weekend, a lot of good football coming up. Some wild card games. It's just amazing. 2022, the playoffs are here. And what do they say? We're back. That was in The Shining. I'm back. So they're back in the 2022 NFL playoffs. Another super wild card weekend of 6 games. It's all fair and love and war. When you think about the teams that win, Vegas doesn't really care as much about who wins. They care about, do you win the spread? So do you cover the spread? So a team could lose a game and you can still be happy because they covered the spread, if that makes sense to you. But there's a lot of opportunities out there for the betting world. I'm not a bettor, so I don't really understand it as much as people try to tell me. But there's a lot of things that sports fans love about playoff games, from prop betting to the over-under to who's going to cover the spread. All fair in love and war. I really think this year, the NFL going to 17 regular season games. Some people didn't like it at first. But what do you not like about it now? It's amazing this time of year. Football is so amazing. Really appreciate it that we get to cover it here with Big C Sports. I'm going to get into the first game, and it's just my opinion. It's the game of the week, and people have their opinion about who it might be. Some people say it's going to be Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Philadelphia Eagles. or someone might even say the Raiders in Cincinnati. But I think the game of the week, the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 3, but that's fool's gold if that makes sense to you. And the over-under is 47. The over-under is 47. When you look at Dallas's, their last 5 games, they didn't beat any team that's in the playoffs outside of Philadelphia, and you can say that Philadelphia rested their players for that one. But when I look at it, it's a Sunday kickoff, 4:40 p.m. East Coast time on CBS Sports and Nickelodeon, as well as Amazon Prime Video. So the Cowboys, they decided to play their starters in Week 18, and they got rewarded. Dak Prescott got hot for the playoff warm-up, and they made that mistake a couple of years ago when they went into Philadelphia, and they didn't play Dak. They let Tony Romo play because Jerry Jones, he wanted to kind of reward Romo, and the players got rusty. This time they learned their lesson, and Jerry Jones decided to keep touchdown Dak Prescott in the game. So he got some good. But Philadelphia didn't. They didn't play their starters. Touchdown Jalen Hurts didn't play. They had Gardner Minshew throwing the football. But think about this. The 49ers, they expended some good offensive energy coming back to beat the Rams in overtime. It was more of a beating because the Rams were upset. They were up 17-0 against the 49ers. And the Niners scored just before halftime. But they were up 17-0. After being up 17-0 and then going into overtime, the 49ers outscored the Rams 27-7. That's a beatdown. And they didn't do it by throwing the ball 40 times. They ran the ball about 40 times in that game. And as I mentioned earlier, Shanahan, whether you're going back to when he was coaching for the Atlanta Falcons or the 49ers, when he runs the ball 40 times a game, they are 18-0. You would have to be just asleep not to understand that stat. That's his own stat. He has to understand that Jimmy G doesn't have to throw the ball more than 20 yards downfield. Stay away from that Dallas secondary and run the ball. For Dallas, Dak Prescott's going to throw for some yards. He's going to get his yards. That 49ers defense is 10th in the league. I mean, they're not as bad as some people make them out to be on the deep ball. And the great thing about Dak Prescott, when you blitz this guy, you don't want to blitz him. His QBR rating is 113 against the blitz. Think about that. He's thrown over 26 touchdowns against the blitz. You don't want to blitz him. Let him sit back and try to read defenses. He's going to dump it off low, oftentimes to their tailbacks. Ezekiel Elliott spent. He doesn't have the breakaway speed anymore. And the 49ers can get after you by rushing 4. They don't need to blitz. They can drop a man back in secondary, so that's going to help. So when I think about what the Niners did against the Rams, both teams can run the ball when needed, the Cowboys and the 49ers. But the 49ers are more committed to the run. And the Cowboys, they have more reliable matchups across the board in the passing game with Dak Prescott. He's a good quarterback. He's going to throw for 300 yards in the game. No doubt about that. They'll probably score 21 points. They may even get a field goal. But if the 49ers do their formula, that's worked against the Rams twice, they're going to score 40, I won't say 40 points. They're going to run the ball at least 40 times. They're going to score 30 points. That's just my opinion. From what I've seen and listening to all the top people who talk about sports, that's just the key. For Jimmy Garoppolo, it's throw the short passes, 5 and 10 yard outs, maybe 15 yarder every now and then. Don't throw it over 30 yards downfield. Don't even go over 20. The ball tends to float on him and he has that thumb. But he'll come back and be okay. I think it's going to be okay if Shanahan remembers who he is. You're 18-0 when you have 40 runs per game. That's just, you got to know that. Now, San Francisco, they're going to slow the game down, keep touchdown Dak Prescott off the field, but you're going to tire down the Dallas defense. They're a beefy team, but they don't go well laterally. If you look at what happened with Arizona Cardinals, they went in there and bludgeoned those guys. You just run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. The Cowboys did the same thing when they had Emmitt Smith back in the day. They just kept running behind that big offensive line. Now, Dallas is going to be hungry, looking to force Jimmy G into mistakes. The only thing they can do that is Shanahan. Don't throw 30-yard passes. Keep it 5, 10, 15 yards. Make them come up and stop the run because they can't. And then if you want to take a deep pass, you can. But that's when you're already run the ball 20 times. The 49ers at times, there's a couple of games this year where they have 18 plays on one possession because they have a great running game. And Dallas cannot stop the run. The only way the Niners lose this game if they get suckered into throwing the ball deep and trying to make Jimmy Garoppolo Joe Montana. He doesn't have to be Joe Montana. Just be Jimmy G. Hand the ball off, run left, run right. They got reverse plays every now and then. But run the ball right at him. Punch him in the mouth. by the second half, they'll be tired the same way the Rams got worn down. But for Dallas, they got to throw deep, and they got to throw deep often because they cannot run the ball as effectively as people think they can. I just think it's amazing, this game. If Prescott can end up throwing for 350 to 400 yards, then they have a better chance. But I don't think he can. I think Dallas is going to try to mano with the 49ers and try to run the ball. Ezekiel Elliott is not the same running back he used to be. The 49ers should win that game with Bosa and Armstead and those good old boys on the defensive line. You got to keep in mind, too, Fred Warner might be the game MVP because he's a great linebacker, maybe the best in the game, and you can drop him back in pass coverage. He's just amazing. My pick, San Francisco 49ers 31, Dallas Cowboys 24. That's just my opinion, and I'm sticking with it. And what did E40 said? He had a song that you hear when you go to 49er games. It's called Bang Bang Niner Game. They're going to bang, they're going to bang, they're going to kick the door in, and they're going to say, there's gold at their heels. Don't dance on the star, though, like Terrell Owens did a couple years ago. All-Star level war. There's another team coming in from the West Coast. We can say, I guess Nevada's considered West Coast. Las Vegas, Nevada. The Las Vegas Raiders. They're playing at the Cincinnati Bengals, and they're getting 6 points. The Bengals are a 6-point favorite, and it's going to be cold. And they beat them down pretty soundly the first time they played in Las Vegas, but those are different teams. And I think the Raiders have learned a lot. The over-under is 48.5 with the Raiders and Cincinnati. Touchdown, Derek Carr's making his first playoff appearance. And I know a lot of people look at Cincinnati winning this game, but they're Jekyll and Hyde. They're hot and cold. If you look at Saturday, 4:35 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on NBC Sports, the Bengals, they decided to rest touchdown Joe Burrow and other key starters in Week 18. I think that's going to be a mistake. And also did not have running back Joe Mixon because of COVID-19 protocol. And that would make Cincinnati fresh and seeking his first playoff win since 1990. What were you doing in 1990? It's the first playoff appearance since 2015 for the Raiders. Now, Burrow is the key to stopping the streak. Can you pick apart a flashy but overall shaky Raiders defense? Well, the same type of quarterback they just saw and they beat him in touchdown Justin Herbert for the Los Angeles Chargers. Same kind of quarterback, but Herbert's more of a run-pass option. Burrow's more of a sit in the pocket and try to read it out like Kenny Anderson back in the day. Not like Boomer Esiason. But when you look at these two teams, Cincinnati has to get Chase hot because he's a tough out. And they just may have a good offensive output. But I think it's not going to be the same output they had the first time they beat the Raiders. The last time they beat the Raiders in Las Vegas, I think Carr had 2 turnovers that led to 16 points. So if you don't turn the ball over, you have a chance. I think the hard part for the Raiders, they can only ride the momentum of the late John Madden so far. It worked in Las Vegas, but even that, they couldn't stop the Chargers from throwing against their defense. That's the thing that I worry about the Raiders. It's going to be a tough turnaround for the Raiders. They pulled out an overtime win Sunday night against the Chargers. The Bengals can do whatever they want offensively, and their pressure is going to put pressure on touchdown Derek Carr and prevent them at maybe having a comeback because it's going to be too cold for a dome team to go out into the frigid cold in Cincinnati and get a win. But I think the Raiders start fast. I don't think they start slow. And because Cincinnati rested their starters, they may start slow in this game. If touchdown Derek Carr has Cincinnati 24 to the Raiders maybe 22 with about 3 minutes to play in the game, 3 or 4 minutes, and the Raiders don't have to kick a field goal or punt, then touchdown Derek Carr is more than capable of driving the Raiders in the field goal range. I just don't think they'll be close enough by the end of the game to have a field goal. They might need a touchdown to try to win this game just because it's going to be too cold, and it's cold and dim their heels, if that makes sense to you. I am going to go with Cincinnati 30 and the Raiders 24, and to me, that might spell the end of the season for the Raiders, unless Cincinnati has a couple of turnovers in all friend level war. Now, I want to take you to a big game that has LA has so many things to do. It's a Laker town. But the Cardinals, when you think about the game with the Rams, it's the Big C Burger. It's sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all those exotic meats? And a ram and a cardinal are exotic meats. don't really know how to pick this game. Both teams won at their visitors' place. But the Rams right now don't really know how to pick this one. The point spread's moving around. The Rams got bludgeoned by the 49ers. I think the Eagles got hurt. They spent a lot of money on touchdown Matthew Stafford to see if it could fix things. That's a Monday on Martin Luther King Day at 8:15 p.m. East Coast time on ESPN. And you look at Arizona and Los Angeles, they split their season series with a touchdown Kyler Murray and touchdown Matthew Stafford, trading turnovers. You already know that Matthew Stafford's going to throw a pick. He's just been consistently doing that this year. And the Cardinals, they're good on the road. In the regular season, the Rams have more issues at home, and Murray can dig deeper and make big plays if he cuts down on mistakes. But there's no Hopkins, so they're already behind the 8 ball. They got to count on their running game. They don't run the ball as well as San Francisco did. Stafford has faced more heat because he keeps throwing the ball into the opponent's hands. Can't do that. He doesn't have the ability to just chuck it down 5, 10, 15 yards. He's trying to throw 40 and 50-yard passes. Doesn't make any sense. Cooper Kupp doesn't have to run 40 yards to catch a pass. If they were to get smart enough and have him catch 5 and 10-yard outs and then get yards after the catch like Jerry Rice used to, it might help them. I think, it's hard to pick this game, but because there's no Hopkins playing for Arizona, I think Arizona overall is more versatile and multiple and work around Los Angeles' defensive strength. While its defense will make up what gives up in the running game and passing games, there's going to be a couple of sacks on Murray because Darnold will get after it. Von Miller can get after him. 2 future Hall of Famers. And I think the Rams will get the home cooking. I don't see them losing back-to-back in L.A. I think the Rams 31 and the Cardinals 21. 31-21. No Hopkins. No Hopkins, no win. My opinion, all strand level war. I want to also look at a big game. There's another big game on the East Coast. It's supposed to be about 0 degrees in temperature, between 0 and 5 degrees temperature in Buffalo. The New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are getting 4.5. They're a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under is 43.5. We know the Patriots already went into Buffalo and won. And when it's cold, Josh Allen doesn't play as well. He's a California kid. What does that matter? I think it's about Bill Belichick. I'm not even his legacy. But here's a man with 8 Super Bowl championships. 6 with the Patriots and 2 with the New York Giants. It's a Saturday 8:15 kickoff, East Coast time on CBS Sports. The Patriots and the Bills, they meet for the 3rd time after winning at each other's home. New England ran all over Buffalo the first time around. Buffalo figured out how to win at Foxborough by mixing up your offense around touchdown Josh Allen. I think when you look at what each team does well, it's a battle of defensive attention. Who has a better defense? I think Buffalo has a better offense that's more explosive. Sean McDermott, is he a better coach than Bill Belichick? Is Mac Jones a better quarterback than Josh Allen? No. Belichick is a better coach, but Josh Allen's a better quarterback. Mac Jones is going to get support for his playoff start, but he's going to make some rookie mistakes. Allen, he's a youngster, has playoff experience. But how do you go against Bill Belichick, Jedi Knight? How do you go against him? In my mind, it says Buffalo may have enough to pull it out. But how do you take a coach who's been to 9 Super Bowls with the Patriots and 2 with the New York Giants and make him an underdog to McDermott, who hasn't been in a Super Bowl, hasn't coached a Super Bowl? It's hard to say which team's going to win, but I'd rather err on the side of caution. I'm going to go with the New England Patriots knocking off the Buffalo Bills 24-21. And I think I'm going to be wrong, but it won't be the first time. I'm betting my money's going with Bill Belichick, not McDermott, and not Josh Allen. That's just my opinion. Both teams are capable of playing in cold weather, but I think in Bill Belichick, give that Jedi Knight some time to figure it out, and he'll find a way to get the Patriots in to win. That's just my opinion, even though my gut tells me I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles at the defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Ronald Jones is not playing in this game. He's out. It's an 8.5-point favorite for Tampa. That's fool's gold. The over-under is 49. The Eagles can flat out run the football. It's a Sunday 1:05 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports. The last game was 28-23 Tampa Bay. Philadelphia is a much better team. It's not going to be an upset because the NFL won't let that happen. But it's another rematch from the regular season. Tampa won at Philadelphia 28-22. And that was Thursday night in Week 6. Now for the Eagles, their offensive strength and defensive weaknesses, they don't line up well for the defending Super Bowl champions. It's a run-heavy approach. It may not work this time against the Bucs down in Tampa. Tampa's defense is legit. They're Super Bowl proven. But they don't have, I know everybody has their own thoughts about Antonio Brown. And they're just missing the receivers. They're down some receivers, but they'll find a way. When I think about it, stopping the run and then dealing with the tight ends as the bigger wideouts, it's not going to bode well against Tom Brady. You can't touch Tom Brady. They'll call a personal foul. So we know they're going to protect him in the pocket. We saw that happen when they played at Kansas City a couple of years ago. He got hit on the shoulder pad, and they called personal foul, and they kept a drive alive for Tom Brady and New England. I think he's going to get the same kind of treatment at home. He's an amazing quarterback, 44 years old, has thrown for the amount of yards he's thrown for. That's amazing. Whatever he's drinking, I hear he eats a lot of Big C burgers. I hear he knows there are tasty burgers, and it comes with, he said, damn, man, what's all these exotic meats? He also has the Big C coffee. It's a tasty coffee, and it comes with extra large always. What's all these exotic beans? Whatever he's doing something. But I think he's going to do enough to help knock off the Eagles, because Pirates eat Eagles. But I think about it, Brady led the Bucs over the weak NFC East to open the playoffs last year, and he got more locked in, adjusting to no Chris Godwin, no Antonio Brown. That's because of Bruce Arians in Week 18, and should also get rushing and defensive reinforcements to support him in this game. I just like the Buccaneers defense, and I like also that the officials will want to see Tom Brady advance. There'll be no upset in this game. Tampa Bay 30 and Philadelphia 21. 30-21 is my opinion. All's fair in love and war. I'm going to go the Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs have been to the NFC Championship game 3 years in a row. They're getting ready for a fourth run. That's like the Buffalo Bills. But they're 12.5-point favorite over Pittsburgh. The over-under is 47. It's a Sunday 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on NBC Sports. The Steelers were no match for the Chiefs in Week 16. They lost 36-10. That's a 26-point beatdown, and that was at the same scene of the crime in Kansas City. When you think about Big Ben Roethlisberger, he gets one more playoff game to end his storied career, but he also needs to exercise the demons of last year's really bad home loss to the Cleveland Browns in the same round. Patrick Mahomes, touchdown Patrick Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs, they got their groove back. They've adjusted their offense. They'll keep proving that they have a better passing game than Pittsburgh, and they run the ball well as well. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You know you're going to get a good passing performance out of, I just think you will if you can just cut down on the turnovers, Patrick Mahomes. I think they figured that out for the most part. Receivers are dropping ball. The Steelers try to stay with the ground with Franco Harris or make that Najee Harris. Put T.J. Watt and the defense in a more favorable spot to get after touchdown Patrick Mahomes. It's easier said than done. They need a lot more. They just need a lot more of this game. And they don't have it. Mike Tomlin, that never lost, had a losing season. But this is a tough game for Big Ben. He's not very mobile in the passing game. They're going to have to run the ball. If they fall behind, they can't come back. Not with Big Ben, unless it's a major, major upset. That's not going to happen. But I think touchdown Patrick Mahomes is just too good of a leader to let a game get away. Even if the Steelers get out to an early lead, and I don't see that happening, I think the Chiefs can help cover that spread. And I think the Steelers play with a lot of pride, a lot of energy. But Kansas City 35, Pittsburgh 21, and that's my opinion. All's fair in love and war. There's a lot of good things going on in NFL football. Everybody has their own prediction about who's going to win games and what teams are going to be more favored going into the playoffs. We know that the home teams have the home field advantage, especially when it's cold. So that goes for, I'm not going to say as much for Buffalo as it does for Cincinnati, But cold weather teams, they're playing against other cold weather teams except for Cincinnati. New England and Buffalo, both cold weather teams. I think it comes down to coaching. I trust Belichick more than McDermott. That's just my opinion, and I'm going to stick with that too. And everybody has their thoughts on that. It should be a great week of NFL football. I hope that everybody can stay healthy. I know we dealt with all the COVID protocol, but let's hope that we can have a great, healthy, and safe football playoff weekend. Big C spots, and I'm sticking with it. All strand level. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout, in the words of former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we're back on the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on 20 podcast applications all over the universe, including on 4 TV applications. Really do appreciate that. You find a 5-star rating with Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. Really appreciate that. Also, one of the top shows on iHeart-Radio-podcast. Really do appreciate the help and the growth of Big C Sports. I want to bring up something too. Monday is Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, and that's going to be on the 17th of January. And I really love the sports business that we're in. And the NFL is amazing. But the NFL universe for black coaches, since 2000, we have Martin Luther King holiday on Monday. But I want to ask all the owners, how do white men get 31 of the 32 jobs when black men make up 75% of the NFL in 2021-22 season? Think about that. 75% of the league played by black men. How do white men get 31 of the 32 jobs? People can say, well, Coach Saleh, well, I'm just asking about African Americans. In most NFL end zones, it says end racism, or they'll put it on the helmets. Like end racism. Like, who's going to end it? Because the men that give you a job in the NFL, for the most part, they're all Caucasian except for Shad Khan with Jacksonville. And then with the Buffalo Bills, they have an owner. The Green Bay's, they're supposedly owned by the citizens, but we know the citizens don't draft people or hire or fire people either. It's just interesting to note on coming up on an MLK holiday. In racism on nearly every NFL end zone and on helmets, Black Lives Matter, all that stuff people have gone through. Only one black head coach right now under contract in the NFL, and that's Mike Tomlin. And he's never had a losing season in 15 seasons as the playoffs kick off this week. Isn't that something? And I love being honest, not trying to spare anybody's feelings. But since 1619, when black people arrived here, allegedly 1619, but Africans were in the United States well before the Middle Passage. All life began in Africa. But there's an enmity to destroy the black family, especially the black father. It's been that way since 1619. Mass incarceration. Most black men are put in prison by white judges and prosecutors, oftentimes for the same crimes that white Americans commit. We know that. Unless you're just a dumb person, I don't even want to talk to you. But I want to know, when Stephen Ross, the Miami Dolphins, fired Brian Flores for being in the playoffs last year, missing the playoffs by one game this year, for what reason? It sent shockwaves around the NFL. For many fans, men and women, it's just amazing. One black coach, as of today in the NFL, out of 32 teams, black men are 10 times to 1 more likely to be accused of a crime by white Americans. It goes back to the educational system, where mobs would come through the Middle Passage, even the Underground Railroads, and pull black men out of the home. By, like Malcolm X said, by any means necessary, fight back. So how does society get away with destroying black families. Oftentimes they attack the father. And mobs would do it. In the criminal justice system, even in mainstream society. And how do you let that happen? And now the NFL, which employs over 1,500 athletes, 75% are African American, only one coach is black. And he's a Super Bowl champion coach and never had a losing season. But the league is littered with white coaches who've had losing season after losing season, and they're still coming back to coach. And everybody says end racism. It starts in the home with a lot of people. And again, it's nothing new. The Kerner Commission talked about it over a half century ago. Commissioned by Lyndon Baines Johnson. And people can smile in your face and stab you in the back. I've seen it many, many times. Black men are oftentimes targeted for the criminal justice system, in the school districts, and oftentimes you'll have mobs of people, just like 1619 through the Middle Passage. They look to divide people. Our society has done that. If people are honest, they know a lot of people are complicit in that, trying to destroy the black family. What does it have to do with the NFL? It has everything to do with the NFL. Everything, because when you're not with a uniform on and people are cheering, touchdown, home run, three-point play, oftentimes you're just a target for the criminal justice system or the target for someone trying to destroy your family. Through whatever lies, rumors, it's just like the prosecutors. Carter G. Woodson, the miseducation of the Negro. The first thing that they did through slavery is they divided the black family. They sold off the fathers and the mothers and the children. They divided them by any means necessary. And it still goes on in 2022. NFL just proved that. And people know who they are. It may be even subconscious. But there's oftentimes, since 1619, and with the reports of the Kerner Commission, whether you're reading Souls of Black Folks with W.E.B. Du Bois, written over a century ago, or the Kerner Commission over a half century ago, or the NFL in 2022. One black coach out of 32 teams. And people say end racism. It's structural. It's structural. What's the NFL going to do about a path for diversity? You saw it in the college levels. Of the coaches that got pulled away, whether it's Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, went to LSU, or any other coach, not going to get all into their names, but outside of Mel Tucker and Coach Franklin at Penn State and Michigan State, most of these guys that bounce around, they're Caucasian men. How do they make their money? Coaching black boys. 75% of them. Look at the national championship game. Look at Georgia's team. Nearly everybody was African American on that team except for the quarterback and a receiver who was a tight end. And Georgia won a national championship. Alabama, almost everybody's black. And these coaches making nearly $10 million a year. Isn't that something? Deion Sanders for Jackson State gets criticized for getting top athletes to come to Jackson State. He's a black man. Anyone criticizing Nick Saban? Kirby Smart? Isn't it amazing? It's amazing. NFL, if you love something, you try to fix it. But what is it in white people since 1619 that try to destroy black families? Get the father away from the family, away from his children. Get the kids, as much as they can, away from the household and under the tutelage of a criminal justice system that is predatory in its practice of law. Again, if you're not cheering touchdown, home run, three-point play, oftentimes there are people trying to divide you. And I hate that garbage, and I love bringing attention to it, and I always will. And that's why Big C Sports is ESPY nominated for an ESPY in 2021 and 22. Give that some praise. Gotta fix it. You can't fix it unless you talk about it. Over 75% of the athletes in the NFL are black. Only one black coach. In racism. Who's going to end it? People pretend it doesn't exist because they're so busy cheering. Look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry for three. Steph Curry for three. LeBron James for three. Monster Fest. Look at Giannis Antetokounmpo. James Harden for three. Kevin Durant for three. What a pass by Chris Paul. Patrick Mahomes. What a pass by Patrick Mahomes. What a play. Only one black head coach. I'm going to cover tonight's NBA schedule, where the NBA is about 85% African American. They have more coaches of African American descent in the NBA this season alone than the NFL in the last 5 years. Isn't that something? What is it about the fairness? Imagine if on the golfing tour, the PGA, if there were no white caddies. Maybe just one out of the top 32 golfers. That would never happen because of the cronyism and the nepotism that goes into that. There are even white head coaches that have their sons employed on their team in the NFL. And there's one black head coach in the NFL in 2022. And people can't wait for the games to start. Isn't that something? You gotta fix that. Tonight's NBA schedule, Friday, January 14th, Orlando at Chicago. Actually, Orlando at Charlotte. You have Toronto, they're playing at Detroit. The Phoenix Suns, they're playing at the Indiana Pacers. The Boston Celtics at the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia Freedom. What a game that should be. Golden State Warriors, man, they went to sleep last night up in Milwaukee, got toasted. That's the biggest loss they've had since they came to the West Coast. But, the game was not as close. Or the score was not as close. It didn't indicate how bad of the game they played. Things happen. That's just one of those anomalies. But they've lost 4 or 5. They got to figure it out. Atlanta at Miami in the Heat. Cleveland at San Antonio down in Texas. Dallas is at Memphis. And Houston's at Sacramento. Let's talk about some trades being talked about for the Sacramento Kings, whether it's De'Aaron Fox or Simmons coming from Philadelphia. Something's going on in the world of NBA basketball. There's always talk about who's going to trade players and who's going to move who. But there's something about this NBA basketball season that's just amazing in the fact that when I look at NFL compared to NBA, the NFL's a $15 billion enterprise, and they got one black coach, and 75% of the black men make up the enterprise. That to me, something has to be done to fix that. It can't just be where, it's just the way it is. We just need more time for things to change. It doesn't change. Could you imagine in the NFL that makes up 75% of the players are black? What if 30 out of 31 coaches were black? Good enough to make the league a $15 billion league. How come only one black man has a coach? And there's plenty of white coaches that have losing records and they're getting their contracts renewed. Brian Flores made the playoffs last year. They fired him. Missed about one game this year with the Miami Dolphins. Beat the Patriots twice. He's out of work. I'm telling you, since 1619, there's always been a way to divide black families. They try to cut out the father first. It's called buck breaking. You can Google it. And they've been doing it for coaches too. Chip Kelly at UCLA just signed a contract with the UCLA Bruins to coach their football team. He hasn't won 10 games since he's been at UCLA. Got a contract extension. Hasn't won 10 games in a season. Got his contract renewed. He's white.
Look at what USC just did. Lincoln Riley comes out of Oklahoma. Never won a championship, a national championship, over $100 million. To coach USC in South Central Los Angeles. He's going after all the top black athletes. He's not going after all the top white athletes. It's black men that are helping him get $100 million. And then those same black men can't get work once they finish playing. Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. It's a joke. And most of our brethren, they don't even talk about it other than, yeah, we got to fix it. Fix it how? They've been doing it since 1619 to divide the black family. The criminal justice system does it. School systems do it by hiring racist teachers to penalize black boys. And they've always done it since 1619 to rip black men away from their families. It's by design, maybe even subconscious. If it's good to rip black men out of their families, take every white man and rip the family of his partner apart. If it's good to hire 30 out of 32 coaches and make them white in the NFL, hire 30 out of 32 coaches, make them all black. Why not? Why is that anathema? Something has to change. We're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King holiday coming up on Monday, and the NFL is going to play a football game with about 75% black men and 2 white head coaches on the sideline. I have a dream. Don't judge people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. If that's the case, why are so many people trying to tear apart black families and not hiring black men at NFL coaching jobs or even college jobs? It's like pulling teeth. You could be a white man with a less than 500 record and they want to give you a contract extension. Never won a championship. Not even making the playoffs. Black man playoffs last year. No playoff this year. Last time the Chargers were in the playoffs, they had a black head coach. They fired him. Did they make the playoffs this year? No. It's crazy. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young men, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty I can't possibly be beat because I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, with all the big sea burgers in my tummy. They come with all that exotic meat, that's why I can't be beat. And the big sea coffee, that's over the top. Extra large only. Extra large only, and it comes in chocolate. So it couldn't get a head coaching job with the NFL. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone, ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you, on every Big C Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.